What if I told you the most enchanting kitchen you'll ever see was built entirely from trash? Not luxury materials, not big budgets, just broken glass, old bottles, forgotten wood, and a little imagination. In this video, we're diving into Genius Pergola kitchen ideas that look expensive, but are crafted from what most people throw away. Stick around, because you're about to see how beauty can rise from scraps. And maybe you'll be inspired to build your own. Welcome to Archon Aesthetic Studio, where forgotten objects find new life and everyday spaces become extraordinary. This episode brings you creative, affordable, and soul-filled pergola kitchen ideas, designed to stir your heart and spark your hands into action. The video is time-stamped. Feel free to skip to what you need. And if you have questions or thoughts, drop them in the comments. We're here to grow together. To you, I might be just another face on a screen, but behind this channel is a real home, a real heart, and a family dreaming loud. This isn't just content, it's our craft. Every like, every share, every subscribe is a lifeline. You're not just growing a channel, you're helping a small dream stay alive. Thank you for watching. Thank you for seeing us. One, rustic brick and pallet pergola kitchen. In a world that moves too fast, there are corners of stillness quietly built from what others have forgotten. This isn't a million-dollar kitchen. It's better. This is a place where red bricks meet reclaimed pallet wood, where glass bottles don't hold wine anymore, they hold light, and where herbs grow in crates, not pots, because someone chose creativity over convenience. Take a look at this first pergola kitchen. It doesn't shout. It doesn't try to impress. It simply is. Framed in old timber and raw brick, every surface tells a story. The countertop, rough around the edges, is cut from pallet wood, splinters softened by time and sun. Basil thrives in wooden crates. A single pan sits ready above a modest burner, while tin watering cans rest quietly on a handmade shelf. Hanging jars sway in the morning breeze, turning sunlight into silver flickers. There's a peace here that money can't buy, only intention can build it. Now shift your gaze to the next pergola. Golden hour bathes this space in gentle warmth. A brick oven, robust and charmingly floored, sits proudly at the heart. Above the counter, empty glass bottles, once waste, are now arranged like art, catching light and reflecting the passing day. The pallet walls are rich with texture. Hanging lanterns cast soft shadows that stretch across the planks. It feels like a place where bread is baked slowly, and where every meal is shared under open skies and quiet gratitude. And finally, the simplest of the three. No sink, no oven, no showpieces. Just a wall of weathered brick, wooden shelving made from crates, and pots of fresh herbs aligned like a living gallery. Ivy winds through the slats above, climbing gently towards sunlight. This is the kind of space you start small, where the journey is the build itself. It's a seed of a dream, a garden waiting to grow into a kitchen. If you're watching and thinking, Could I really build something like this? You could. And you should. Not in a weekend. Not to impress anyone. But slowly, out of love, curiosity, and your own quiet creativity. Use what you have. A few old boards. Some glass jars. Even a broken drawer can become a planter. Let the process be imperfect. Let the story unfold through your hands. Because sometimes, the most genius design isn't the one with the most money behind it. It's the one made from trash, reclaimed with soul, and lived in with joy. Two, tropical bamboo pergola with driftwood counter. Sometimes, paradise doesn't need a plane ticket. Sometimes, it grows quietly in your backyard, where bamboo hums in the breeze, and forgotten driftwood finds its second life. This first pergola is not a bar, it's a story carved by the sea. The counter is made entirely from sun-bleached driftwood, its curves untamed, its character untouched. Every piece carries salt, memory, and time. The roof, woven palm leaves, rustling softly in the afternoon wind. Look closer and you'll find coconut lanterns, hollowed and humble, now hanging above like glowing fruit. Surrounding it all, hibiscus in bloom, banana trees swaying. And at the base, a border built from reused glass bottles. Greens, browns, and clear, catching sunlight like sea glass treasures. It's tropical, it's wild, and it's made almost entirely from things that were once discarded. And that is the magic. Now enter the second kitchen, tucked beneath bamboo and surrounded by flowers. This space pulses with life. Vines climb freely over fencing, and lanterns dangle gently from the beams, made of old coconuts and rusted green lanterns. The counter here tells a different story. It's detailed, tiled with white seashells and lined with smooth, pale wood. There's driftwood art resting quietly above the stove, as if it floated here from another world. This isn't just a place to cook. It's a sanctuary, a workshop of flavors and colors and memory. A reminder that your kitchen doesn't need granite to be grand. It only needs soul. And the third kitchen? It feels like the beginning of a dream. Fresh bamboo stalks form its frame, strong, patient, and beautifully simple. The roof is thick with palm thatch, providing cool shade and soft shadows. Inside, shelves and counters made from rounded log cuts and smoothed bamboo slats line the interior. You can feel the texture with your eyes. Natural, handcrafted, deeply rooted in the earth. Each glass bottle tucked into the edging, each coconut shell turned lantern, is a quiet rebellion against waste. It's DIY, yes, but not just do it yourself. It's design it yourself. Shape it from your world, from your shorelines, your forests, your backyard leftovers. Because building a kitchen like this isn't just about creating a place to cook. It's about building a place to feel, to rest, to live slow. So if you're wondering, can I really make something this beautiful without spending much? Yes, not with money, but with time, intention, and a bit of island soul. Three, bottle wall pergola divider and hanging planters. There's a certain kind of magic that happens when light meets glass. In this quiet backyard, a wall of old bottles rises, not as waste, but as wonder. Green, amber, cobalt blue, clear, once vessels of wine, soda, celebration, now stand together in harmony. They're held in a steel frame that doesn't try to be pretty. And that's exactly why it is. When the sun moves through them, it paints the ground below with fractured light, gentle hues dancing across leaves and gravel. This isn't stained glass crafted by a master artisan. It's recycled beauty, made by hands that see the value in things left behind. Above, the beams of the pergola are lined with bottle planters, each one cut carefully, filled with rosemary, thyme, mint. Their roots hang freely. Their leaves sway. They scent the air in a way that's soft and steady. You don't need a landscaper to build something like this. You need time, intention, and a willingness to slow down and ask, what can I make with what I already have? In the evening, the bottle wall becomes something else entirely. As shown in the second kitchen, it transforms into a glowing canvas. Warm lights tucked behind the glass turn the space into a garden of lanterns. It's not over-designed. It's not expensive, but it feels like home. Even more incredible is how simple the idea is. Collect bottles, build a frame, stack them safely, add light, let nature do the rest. In a world that often tells you more is better, this kitchen says, reuse what's already here, and beauty will follow. The final image shows us what happens when this idea is taken even further. An entire pergola wall lined with hundreds of upright bottles, forming a living mosaic. Hanging planters sprout from the center, cradling herbs and small flowers. Everything breathes. Everything belongs. This is designed for the soul, not the showroom. And that's exactly what makes it genius. Four, coastal pergola kitchen with Seascape decor. Some spaces feel like they've drifted ashore with the tide, quiet, worn, and full of memory. This coastal pergola kitchen tells such a story, not with polished surfaces or pristine finishes, but with rough wood, faded paint, and forgotten treasures reimagined. Look closely. The structure is made from weathered planks, maybe once part of an old boat or dock, now reborn into cabinetry and countertops. Nothing matches, and that's its charm. Nets hang like soft curtains, catching light and breeze. Old ropes loop gently around beams, like remnants of sea voyages now long past. Blue glass bottles, once discarded, now glow overhead as lanterns. Their shimmer catches every drop of daylight. They don't hide their scratches, they celebrate them. Below, the garden doesn't try to be perfect. Crates once used to haul cargo now bloom with daisies, rosemary, and lavender. Shells line the borders. The scent in the air is earthy, sunlit, and a little salty, like summer afternoons spent by the tide, gathering what the sea left behind. This isn't luxury, it's soul work. You can build something like this, not with money, but with vision. Salvage old oars or paddles and let them be art. Hang found nets across the walls. Collect smooth stones, worn wood, and make a place where every piece has a past. And if you think you need perfection to start, remember, Driftwood has no straight lines, and the sea still loves it. This coastal pergola isn't just a kitchen. It's a poem, told in rope and wood and salt. A gentle reminder that what's lost can be found again, and turned into something even more beautiful. Five, tiny patio pergola with foldable pallet dining table. spaces aren't vast or grand. They're quiet corners, tucked behind fences, wrapped in herbs and laughter. This tiny pergola isn't built to impress. It's built to hold stories. Made entirely from reclaimed pallets, the table stands in the middle, solid but humble. Its surface is marked by time. Every nick, every uneven edge, is a reminder that perfection isn't the point. When not in use, it folds away gently, like a secret waiting to be told. Around it, benches made from the same rescued would offer a place to sit, to rest, to talk late into the night under warm string lights. The cushions aren't fancy, but they're soft. They say, "You're welcome here." Above, the beams cradle strands of light that glow like fireflies at dusk. Below, planter boxes overflow with basil, thyme, mint, scents rising with the warmth of the setting sun. And though the whole setup takes only a few square meters, it feels boundless. Why? Because it was made with care, made slowly, made with what most would throw away. This is more than a DIY dining set. It's a tiny act of rebellion, against waste, against speed, against silence. It invites you to pause, to build something with your own hands, to sit and share and grow. So if you've ever thought your space is too small or your budget too tight, look again. Sometimes, a little pergola made from pallet wood is all you need to create a world where nothing is wasted and everything is welcome. Six, vertical garden fence pergola from plastic bottles. In a world that throws away too much, this garden dares to keep. Here, plastic bottles, once tossed aside without a thought, are reborn as vessels of life. Hung upside down on wooden slats, they cradle tiny roots. Lettuce, mint, basil, even strawberries, reaching toward the filtered sun, as if to say, we all deserve a second chance. This pergola isn't polished. Its bones are simple, salvaged wood, reused crates, a plastic sheet for a roof. But step inside and you'll feel it. A calm, quiet rhythm of things growing slowly, patiently. Each bottle is a world of its own. Some clear, some green, some rough, others smooth. Their imperfections don't clash, they harmonize. The morning light slips through their curves, scattering soft shadows across the soil. Dew gathers like tiny jewels. It smells of damp earth and green dreams. There's a bench in the corner, made from discarded pallets. Sit down. Listen. You might hear the gentle trickle of water as it drips down from one level to the next. A humble irrigation system powered only by gravity and care. What makes this space special isn't the materials. It's the meaning. This isn't just a kitchen garden. It's proof that something beautiful can grow from what we ignore. That trash isn't the end of a story, but the start of one, if we take the time to reimagine it. You don't need a big backyard, a big budget, or a big plan. Just a bit of light, a few old bottles, and the willingness to try. Because even in the smallest corner, with the simplest things, you can create a garden that feeds not just your table, but your spirit. Seven, farmhouse pergola with tire seating garden. Out here, beyond the hum of machines and the rush of schedules, there's a quiet garden. A field, a kitchen, and a place to rest, woven gently into one. At first glance, you see a rustic pergola standing tall in the sunlight. Its beams aren't new, they've aged with time, kissed by wind and memory. Hanging mason jars sway gently above, catching the breeze like old lanterns guiding stories home. But then you notice the seats. Not store-bought, not expected. Tires, retired from roads long forgotten, now reborn as garden thrones. Wrapped in soft jute rope, painted with earthy tones, and crowned with handmade cushions, they feel more like poetry than furniture. There's laughter here, even when no one's speaking. Maybe it's the wildflowers dancing around the edge. Maybe it's the chickens wandering freely in the background, pecking between crate planters overflowing with mint and rosemary. Or maybe it's the table itself, inviting, familiar, made for warm tea and slow mornings. A kitchen counter stands humbly to the side, built from brick and pallet wood. It isn't polished, but it's perfect, because it works, because it holds what it needs, because someone, somewhere, built it with care and calloused hands. This isn't just a garden, it's a lesson in living. Every piece here was once discarded. Every element has a past life. Yet now, together, they tell a new story of usefulness, beauty, and the quiet pride of building something that matters. And the best part? You can do it too. With a few tools, some old tires, a bit of rope, and time, not just to build, but to dream, you can craft your own space like this. A corner of calm, a table under trees, a sanctuary where trash becomes treasure and effort becomes elegance. Eight, Minimalist pergola with Japanese garden touch. Not all kitchens are made for noise. Some are built for stillness, for the pause between breaths, where tea steeps slowly and wind writes poems through leaves. Beneath the canopy of aged wood, this minimalist pergola breathes serenity. The roof, slatted and open, sifts sunlight into delicate shadows. It doesn't shout for attention. It simply exists, anchored, warm, and humble. Around it, a garden flows in quiet rhythm. Moss rises like velvet islands on white gravel seas. Each stepping stone has been placed with thought, as if mapping a journey inward rather than a walk across. A lone bonsai bows gently in the breeze, its miniature branches carrying a lifetime of patience. And then, there's the kitchen. Not chrome and marble, not loud or gleaming, but soft. Bamboo panels wrapped around a counter made from leftover fence wood. A small concrete sink reclaimed from an old utility room now rests as if it was always meant to serve here, among herbs and silence. In one corner, a bamboo fountain trickles. The sound is barely there, yet it fills everything. Water, wood, gravel, green. Nothing wasted, nothing too much. The beauty here lies not in grandeur, but in grace. This pergola is proof that simplicity isn't a compromise, it's a philosophy. And more than that, it's an invitation to strip away the excess, to build with what's already around you, to turn scrap into sanctuary. Pallets, bamboo, garden stones, these aren't luxuries. They are possibilities. And the message, tucked in every grain of wood and curl of moss, is clear. You don't need more. You only need less, and intention. This space may look expensive, but it's built on values far richer than money. Stillness, clarity, and care. And that, perhaps, is the most beautiful kitchen of all. 9. Trash can sink and mosaic tile counter pergola. Beneath a canopy of reclaimed timber and filtered light, something enchanting unfolds. Here, in the heart of a quiet garden, someone saw potential in forgotten things. An old trash can, a chipped plate, a cracked tile, and wove them into beauty. This is no ordinary pergola kitchen. It's a whisper of resourcefulness, a love letter to imperfection. In the first scene, the countertop sparkles with a kaleidoscope of broken ceramics. Sunny yellows, sea glass blues, and rich terracottas, all dancing across the surface in a mosaic only time could paint. Each shard has a story, and together they tell one of rebirth. Beneath the counter, galvanized trash cans hold up the structure with proud humility. Above, mason jar lanterns catch the daylight like dew, softly lighting the herbs that line the workspace, each in its own mismatched pot, flourishing in their uniqueness. The second image feels like a backyard spell, playful, earthy, and free. Bottle caps and rescued jars transform into whimsical lighting. The backsplash glints with slivers of vintage porcelain, arranged in a way that feels both accidental and intentional. Plates serve not meals, but as part of the wall, unexpected, yet perfect. Beneath it all, two simple bins offer sturdy support, unashamed of their humble origin. And then there's the final corner, a touch more grounded, almost rustic in its rhythm. Warm wooden slats frame the space, while indigo and ivory tiles dance across the backsplash in a patchwork of elegance and memory. A ceramic teapot sits nearby, beside vintage spice tins reborn as planters. It's a kitchen, yes, but also a memory keeper. A small altar to flavor, craft, and the quiet art of repurposing. This isn't about building perfection. It's about crafting with care, with heart, and with what you have. These pergolas don't need polished marble or high-end fixtures to feel special. What they offer is something more precious: soul. If you're feeling inspired, take a walk through your garage, your local flea market, or even your recycling bin. What seems useless at first glance might be the final puzzle piece in a place that brings people together, grows herbs, and maybe, just maybe, sparks a little joy. Pergola bar with fence panel facade and herb buckets. Sometimes, the most beautiful spaces are born not from perfection, but from pieces, forgotten, worn, weathered by time, and brought back to life by hands that see potential where others see junk. This pergola bar isn't just a DIY project. It's a love letter to all things salvaged and soulful. Made from old fence panels, each with its own history, the facade wears chipped paint like proud wrinkles, whispering of rainstorms, sunny afternoons, and countless seasons past. The mismatched textures somehow find harmony under the shelter of the pergola, united by purpose and presence. Look closely, and you'll see magic in the details. The countertop is simple but grounded, worn wood softened by age and weather. Hanging from above, buckets once meant for tools or feed now cradle basil, mint, oregano, each leaf releasing its scent when brushed by a passing breeze. These herbs aren't just decoration, they're memory in motion, filling the air with the promise of homemade meals and fresh cocktails. Glassware dangles from reclaimed hooks, catching the light and reflecting it like fireflies on a summer night. The bar shelves, held up by repurposed beams and lined with hand-picked bottles, create a rhythm of rustic elegance. Even the stools invite pause, weathered, sturdy, always ready to hold a friend and a story. This is not a bar built to impress. It is a bar built to hold moments. If you're dreaming of a space like this, remember, it doesn't begin with money. It begins with intention. Start with what you have: old wood, forgotten fixtures, broken pieces too beautiful to throw away. Let the imperfections speak. Let the process be slow. Let the project grow like a garden, organically, honestly. Because in the end, this isn't just a backyard upgrade. It's a return to something deeply human. The joy of gathering, the charm of creation, and the quiet magic of making something new out of what was once discarded. A space like this doesn't need polish. It just needs heart. Gazebo-Pergola hybrid for small corners. Tucked away in forgotten corners of green backyards, there lies magic born not from wealth, but from wonder and will. In today's story, we'll step into the soft rhythm of handmade peace, where salvaged scraps become soul-filled sanctuaries, and every shadow, every leaf, seems to whisper, "Stay a while." Let's begin with a bold stroke of elegance. A pergola painted midnight black stretches over a swing that hangs gently between raised garden beds. The structure is minimal, yet emotionally full. Stone pavers sit like ancient runes beneath your feet, bordered by smooth river pebbles that remind you of creekside childhoods. Lanterns flicker warmly as the sky dims, and tendrils of vines reach upward, slow and sure. This isn't just a build, it's a poem. And believe it or not, it can begin with discarded wood, second-hand lighting, and a little vision. If you have 4 posts and a bit of imagination, you have everything you need. Not far from there, sunlight filters through the slatted roof of a pergola lined with bamboo fencing. The air smells of peonies and earth. A pair of vintage cafe chairs cradle a morning conversation, a cup of coffee, or perhaps a journal entry. That curtain? Just repurposed linen. The whole build? Quietly DIY, using bamboo, reclaimed fencing, even cast-off pallets. It doesn't shout for attention, but it welcomes you in with soft arms. Sometimes, the simplest pieces bring the most soul. And then there's the tucked-away hexagonal nook, wrapped in vines and solitude. Here, a trellis structure frames a bench made of slatted planks, which in turn rests upon reused plastic crates. A mosaic table sits at the center, not bought, but built, perhaps from old drawer fronts and a slab of found stone. Lanterns dangle like soft punctuation marks in the sentence of this little space. This isn't a mass-produced gazebo. It's a quiet rebellion against perfection. It's where tea tastes better and thoughts land lighter. These corners, these creations, they speak of effort and imperfection and beauty that doesn't need permission. They remind us that even with a handful of worn wood, some found objects, and a love for light, we can craft spaces where people feel more at home, more themselves. And that's the secret. These pergolas don't just frame space. They hold memories, dreams, and small moments that become the heart of a home. Pergola with hanging recycled lanterns and crate planters. When the last rays of sunlight melt into the dusk, there's a kind of magic that awakens under the pergola. Here, light doesn't come from electricity alone. It glows gently from glass jars once forgotten, now lovingly transformed into lanterns. Suspended above like stardust, they flicker with a warm amber hue, casting gentle shadows over a scene crafted from humility and hope. Wooden crates, sturdy, reclaimed, imperfect, form both planters and benches. Their edges are softened not by machines, but by time, weather, and care. Each box carries more than soil. It carries intent. Intent to grow, to nourish, to invite. From basil to marigolds, lavender to lettuce, every leaf and petal reaches toward the light, thriving in the company of repurposed beauty. Look closer, and you'll see the quiet genius behind this space. A kitchen garden, yes, but more than that, a sanctuary. It's a storybook nook where reused bottles dangle like ornaments, humming with wind and memories. It's not just functional, it's soulful. A place where evening tea turns into quiet conversations, where slow meals are shared with laughter under twinkling glass. Want to create something like this? Start small. Save your jars. Ask your local grocer for unwanted crates. Sand them down. Let the imperfections remain. String a few warm fairy lights. And then, let your creativity take root. What grows here isn't just herbs or flowers, it's presence. It's the feeling of being held by the space around you, without spending much at all. And that's the heart of these pergola kitchen ideas. They may look like $1 million outdoor retreat, but in truth, they were born from pieces most would discard. A celebration of imagination over expense, of hands-on love over high-end luxury. In this space, nothing is wasted and everything glows. (13) Pergola planter kitchen made from wooden fruit crates. In the quiet corners of a backyard, where sunlight gently filters through wooden beams and the scent of herbs lingers in the warm air, beauty often grows from the most unexpected places. Welcome to the world of stacked crate pergola kitchens, a handmade haven crafted from castaways, brought to life by imagination, patience, and the humble wooden fruit crate. These pergolas aren't born in glossy catalogs. They are whispered into being by hands that see promise in the old and elegance in the uneven. The first scene feels like a sun-kissed alcove, built entirely from crates once stacked high with apples and oranges. Now, they cradle lavender, rosemary, and wild mint, each plant rooted in the memory of markets past. The benches are made from those same crates, placed end to end like bricks in a garden cathedral. Between the slats, soft shadows fall, and a lone mug waits patiently on a crate-top table, inviting someone to sit and just be. Walk into the next pergola, and you step into a garden kitchen dreamed in wood and leaf. Every surface, walls, countertops, shelving, is a symphony of salvaged boxes. Crates once tossed aside now hold herbs in neat clay pots, lemons and tomatoes nestled between ferns and parsley. The countertop isn't polished stone. It's poured concrete resting on crate foundations, each one stuffed with new life. Tiny drawers of earth, bursting with green. This isn't just a kitchen. It's a sanctuary, a reminder that cooking can begin long before the cutting board, in a space where food grows within arm's reach, where ivy climbs like a quiet song, and butterflies flit in and out as if they, too, belong. The final space brings a playful energy, where colorful crate logos peek through sprays of marigold and basil. A central bar-height table crafted from stacked boxes stands proudly, surrounded by low benches that seem to smile in their rustic simplicity. Lanterns dangle from overhead beams, soft candles resting in glass shells, casting a warm and flickering story as twilight falls. Here's the secret. Every crate was once deemed trash. Each beam might have once supported another roof, another purpose. But in this reimagined garden kitchen, nothing is wasted and everything is alive. If you're dreaming of a space like this, don't start with money. Start with what you already have. A few old crates, some soil, seeds of something fragrant. Let your space grow slowly. Let it reflect your hands, your rhythm. Sand down rough edges, but leave the nicks and notches. They are the poetry of past lives. This is not about perfection. It's about feeling grounded. About sipping tea in a space you built from scraps and dreams, where even the smallest crate holds something beautiful. And maybe, just maybe, this kind of kitchen is the most nourishing of all. Tire-based fire pit pergola kitchen. Under a sky that slowly shifts from blue to dusk, where twilight settles in the crevices of the day, a small sanctuary waits to glow. These pergola kitchens, imagined from cast-off crates, old tires, and forgotten glass bottles, feel more like poems than projects. They whisper stories of transformation, of trash turned into treasure, and of how warmth doesn't need to cost a fortune. Let's begin where the night begins, by the fire. In the heart of a modest backyard stands a fire pit, its body sculpted from stacked, recycled tires, painted in muted tones and brimming with glowing lava stones. This isn't just a fire source, it's a quiet centerpiece for connection. Pallet wood benches form a soft square around it, worn smooth from time and crafted by hands who likely hummed as they worked. Look closely and you'll notice tire stools wrapped in jute, the texture of rope and rubber grounding you in the now. From the pergola's beams hang old glass bottles, green, amber, and clear, some still bearing faded labels. They catch the firelight and turn it into dancing reflections that warm more than just the skin. This space doesn't ask for anything fancy. It just asks for people. A kettle, maybe, a laugh, a memory, and someone to pass the cup. What makes this design beautiful isn't its perfection. It's the way it feels real, lived in, breathed through. Using old tires for both seating and fire pit structure is not only eco-conscious, it's incredibly practical. They're durable, stackable, and with a bit of paint, surprisingly chic. Just be sure to seal them properly with heat-resistant coatings if used with open flames. Safety and magic can coexist. After all, the bottle lanterns? You don't need electricity to make them glow. Slip in solar lights or soft LED tea candles. Let the wind turn them gently. Let the shadows play. Vines will come in time. Plant them around the posts and be patient. One season, two, suddenly you'll wake up and the pergola's wooden bones will be covered in green lace. The space will hum with bees, and evenings will carry the scent of thyme and wood smoke. This isn't just about DIY or upcycling. This is about reclaiming space and soul, one bottle, one bench, one tire at a time. So if you've ever looked at your small backyard and thought, it's not enough, let this be your sign. The scraps you step over could be the very thing that sets your nights aglow. Garden border integrated pergola kitchen. There are some places that don't shout. They whisper. Places that don't dazzle with price tags, but with peace. What you're seeing here might look like a designer's dream, but it's actually the dream of someone who saw the magic in scrap wood, forgotten bricks, and empty corners of a garden. This pergola kitchen is not merely set in a garden, it's grown from it. The borders are made of reclaimed stone and timber, enclosing raised beds filled with herbs that breathe their fragrance into the warm air. Lavender leans lazily over the edges. Sage, rosemary, and mint sway in rhythm with the breeze, and bees hum like nature's lullaby. The kitchen island itself is humble but inviting, a stainless grill nestled into a structure of old bricks and decking, where recycled glass jars and salvaged wood shelves hold tools and spices. There are no store-bought cabinets here. Everything is built from what once was, shaped into what can be. A gravel path winds through the space like a gentle stream. It softens footsteps and absorbs the sounds of the world, encouraging slow movement, lingering moments, barefoot afternoons. Above, the pergola's beams cast dappled shadows across the beds, dancing gently as the sun moves. And then, there are the curtains. Just old linens, rescued from the back of a closet or thrift store, now floating like ghostly sails in the summer light. They don't just provide shade, they soften the structure, turning it from a project into a poem. This idea isn't about building a kitchen, it's about planting one. It's for anyone who's ever wanted to live slower, closer to the earth. You don't need perfect symmetry. You don't need matching wood. All you need is time, patience, and a willingness to build something meaningful with your own two hands. Let it grow. Let it age. Let it become more beautiful with every season. Because the most expensive kitchens in the world will never match the scent of warm rosemary on your fingertips, or the sound of time brushing against your knees as you cook outside in your own little paradise. And best of all, it might just start with a pile of old planks, a patch of soil, and a heart full of calm intention. (16) Seascape Wall Mural Pergola Kitchen. There are places in this world that live not on maps, but in memory. A scent, a sound, a color on the wall, and suddenly, we are by the sea. This pergola kitchen, hand-built from weathered beams and upcycled timber, carries the heartbeat of the ocean without ever touching its shores. The first thing that captures your breath is the mural, a wide sweep of waves crashing onto painted sand, each brushstroke a gentle echo of distant tides. You'd never guess it was painted on repurposed wood, saved from a forgotten fence or an old shed. But there it is, an entire seascape summoned not with luxury, but with love. Look closer. The countertop, rugged and raw, is made from pieces of driftwood, collected, cleaned, and sanded down until smooth by hand. Every knot in the grain tells a different story, perhaps once a branch carried out to sea, now reborn as a kitchen surface that sings when rain taps on the pergola roof. Above, wine bottles hang like lazy wind chimes, green and amber glass strung up with twine, transformed into lanterns. When the sun begins to set, the light filters through and casts long, rippling shadows across the tiled backsplash. Mosaic fragments rescued from broken plates and old ceramic jars. There are no polished chrome finishes here. Instead, there are crates, rough, reused wooden boxes tucked under the sink, filled with rosemary, mint, or maybe just the tools of someone who still believes in slow moments and meals made with herbs picked seconds before they touch the pan. This isn't a beach house. It's better than that. Because everything here, every stroke of blue, every wave, every seashell tucked into a garden bed, was made not by budget, but by imagination. It's a place that invites you to breathe deeper, cook slower, and create boldly. You don't need to be by the ocean to feel its calm. Sometimes, All it takes is a wall, a little paint, and the courage to see potential where others see trash. So next time you find yourself staring at a blank fence or a pile of scrap wood, ask yourself, what would the sea look like here? Then paint it, and build something the wind would want to visit. "17. Edible garden kitchen with bottle drip irrigation pergola." Beneath a weathered pergola of salvaged wood, a quiet revolution is growing. This isn't just a backyard. It's a sanctuary where vegetables bloom under the rhythm of time and the whisper of leaves, fed not by fancy sprinklers, but by humble plastic bottles given new life. They hang like quiet chandeliers, inverted, their narrow necks releasing patient drops into the soil. Each bottle a guardian, each drip a promise. This garden kitchen lives at the edge of practicality and poetry. The raised beds are neatly framed in reclaimed planks, holding lush arcs of chard, basil, lettuce, tomatoes, and orange bursts of calendula. The fragrance is herbaceous and grounding, like stepping into a sun-warmed book filled with old knowledge. This space knows that beauty doesn't need to be bought, only built. With time, with touch, with intention. The irrigation system is simple genius. Drill a pinhole into the cap of an old bottle, fill it, and hang it above the soil with string or perch it upside down on a stake. The slow drip keeps the earth moist even on the warmest days, making this a dream setup for gardeners who believe in sustainability and elegance. Under the pergola, a raw wood counter stretches in silence. On it, pots of basil wait to be picked. Beneath, tools rest, handled with pride, worn with use. There's even a sink tucked neatly into the corner, turning this pergola not only into a place of growing, but a place of gathering, prepping, and possibly even laughing over a plate of greens just harvested. What makes this kitchen extraordinary isn't its budget, it's the soul. Every detail tells a story of reuse, care, and the quiet satisfaction of growing what you eat, step by step. The pergola becomes a frame for life, the plants its artwork, and the bottles, those tossed away remnants, are now instruments of abundance. You don't need expensive gadgets or engineered systems. What you need is a few old crates, leftover boards, sunlight, and heart. And bottles. Plenty of bottles. Because when you look out at a space like this, you realize it's not about building something perfect. It's about building something that grows. "18. Vintage Decor Pergola with trash-to-treasure accents." In a quiet corner of the backyard, tucked between trailing vines and dancing dappled light, there stands a kitchen unlike any other. It doesn't sparkle with modern finishes, nor boast sleek perfection, but it sings in the language of memory, reuse, and heart. This pergola, built from old beams softened by time, embraces a philosophy of giving forgotten things a second chance. Look closer. Walls clad in cracked porcelain plates once destined for the bin now form mosaics of quiet beauty. Their imperfect lines seem to whisper stories of family dinners and cups of tea long past, transformed now into living art. Drawers, mismatched and worn, emerge from beneath rustic counters, each one a tiny garden, overflowing with petunias or herbs. Tea kettles, dulled with age, find new purpose as quirky flower pots, their spouts leaning like curious noses into the blooms they carry. Wooden crates and tin cans, old enamel basins and vintage jars. Everything here is both relic and rebirth. And what makes it truly magical isn't the objects alone, but the harmony in which they live. An old bicycle wheel becomes wall decor, not polished or painted, just honest in its rust. String lights wrap lazily around the rafters, casting a soft golden hue at dusk. In one corner, a drawer hangs slightly askew, but instead of fixing it, someone planted marigolds inside. That's the kind of kitchen this is. Forgiving, blooming, and endlessly surprising. If you're wondering how to begin creating your own, the answer is simpler than you think. Start not with what you want to buy, but with what you already have, or what others have cast aside. Walk through your garage. Visit a thrift shop. Ask neighbors if they have broken furniture, chipped crockery, or rusted tools. Then imagine them differently. A drawer becomes a shelf. A kettle becomes a vase. A ladder becomes a vertical herb garden. This isn't about being perfect. It's about presence. About hands in the dirt. About laughter over tea brewed under the open sky. About reclaiming not just materials, but moments. Turning trash into treasure and spaces into sanctuaries. Because sometimes, the most expensive-looking kitchens are the ones that cost nothing but love, time, and imagination. Mosaic glass counter pergola kitchen. Beneath the gentle canopy of a pergola kissed by climbing vines, there lives a kitchen that defies all rules of design. Not because it ignores beauty, but because it redefines it. Here, broken becomes brilliant. Look closely at the countertops, mosaics born from shattered porcelain plates, mirror shards, sea glass, and forgotten ceramic tiles. Once cast aside, they now shimmer like tiny jewels catching the afternoon light. Every crack is a brushstroke in a larger story. Every imperfection, a celebration of character. This isn't just a kitchen. It's a quiet rebellion against waste and an ode to memory. The space hums with the kind of soul that can't be bought. Reclaimed wood forms the beams above and the shelves behind, some slightly warped, others softly sanded by time. A teapot with a missing lid becomes a rosemary planter. Glass bottles dangle like wind chimes, catching the breeze and scattering prisms across the table. You could sit here for hours, letting the scent of herbs and old earth linger around you. The genius of this pergola kitchen lies not in how much it cost, but in how little was wasted. The artistry is accidental, improvised, intuitive. Don't have fancy tiles? Use chipped china. No backsplash? Let cracked mirrors catch the garden light instead. This is the freedom of DIY when you let imagination lead, not instruction manuals. And there's something healing in building this way, when your hands piece together the discarded into something whole again. It's not just about saving money or being sustainable. It's about reclaiming beauty on your own terms. Creating a space where you can cook barefoot, sip tea from a mismatched cup, and feel the hum of something meaningful beneath the everyday. So next time you break a plate or find a forgotten box of old tiles, don't throw them away. Keep them, because one day, with a little mortar, a sunny afternoon, and a spark of patience, they might just become the surface where you prepare your most heartfelt meal, or the place where someone you love rests their teacup and feels perfectly at home. Solar bottle lamp pergola with mosaic countertops. As twilight settles and the garden exhales the scent of herbs and cool earth, a quiet magic awakens under a canopy of wood and memory. Here, beneath a pergola built not from luxury, but from love and forgotten lumber, wine bottles, once discarded, now float like amber fireflies. They've been reborn as solar lanterns, each glowing with soft light harvested from the sun. Suspended from beams aged by time and weather, the bottles shimmer like stained glass cathedrals, only simpler, humbler, more honest. Below this warm constellation, a mosaic countertop unfolds like a storybook written in fragments. Plates cracked at Sunday dinners, tiles chipped during renovations, mirror shards and beach pebbles, all find new purpose here. There's no symmetry, yet everything belongs. The imperfections are what make it shine. This isn't just a kitchen. It's a quiet protest against throwaway culture, a celebration of slowness, of second chances. Want to recreate something like this? Start with what you have. A few salvaged wood beams, a set of old bottles, and sunlight, free and abundant. Cut the bases off wine bottles with care, install low-voltage solar bulbs, and string them under your pergola like stars waiting for dusk. Add a counter from broken tiles and thrift ceramics. Seal it all with grout and a good memory. Let herbs grow in crates, let vines curl around posts, let weather leave its fingerprints. Don't aim for perfection, aim for soul. What you create may never match a showroom's glossy catalog, but it will match something better, your spirit. A place where cooking feels like poetry, where light doesn't just illuminate, it soothes. Because sometimes, the most beautiful places are built not with money, but with memory, meaning, and morning light stored in a bottle. If this video meant something to you, please know that subscribing means the world to me. You're not just supporting content, you're supporting a dream that keeps my family going. Thank you, truly. I'd also love to hear from you. What did you enjoy the most? Is there anything I could do better to keep inspiring or simply entertaining you? Your feedback helps this channel grow with heart and purpose. Let me know in the comments. I read every one.